Okay, I'm recording it.
Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. So we're going to do a quick introduction, our names and where we're from and favourite lockdown TV series or film. Starting with Donna.
You were going to say me. So I'm Donna from Mind in Bradford. And I can't remember all the things I've watched in lockdown. I've binged that many series. But I'm trying to think of one. I don't know. Like, there's been loads of good ones. Any horror ones, and I'm there with bells on.
Lovely, thank you. Joanne. Hi, Joanne.
Hello everyone, my name is Joanne. I'm from Humankind Bradford, the No Second Night Out project, and I actually don't know, but my partner is registered with Netflix. And I've got a little one who turns 4 last week, and then I'm always on cartoon, all the children's series really. But I think I recently watched a film, and it's Addams Family, so I quite like it. So it's quite fun and it's quite funny. So yeah, that's me.
Great, thank you. I like Addams Family too. Yeah. Thank you, Joanne. Rachel, hello.
Hello. I am Rachel. I'm from Gig Buddies MenCap. And I've been watching 2 things at the moment. WandaVision, which is like the Marvel Carry On thing, superheroes, blah, 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 blah. And The American Office, which is great because you can just binge a quick 20-minute episode while you're having your lunch. It's the dream.
Thank you, Rachel. Jaisha from Henry. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jaisha and I'm from Henry. And I was just thinking about, gosh, what have I watched? At the minute, I can't remember everything I watched, but at the minute what I'm watching is on BBC iPlayer, Bates Motel. Just gives you a bit more of Norman Bates, if anyone's watched it. It gives you a bit more of the psychological of how he became the way he became and the things that are going through his life. Is really, really addictive. I'm so addicted to it.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I am from Ilkley District Good Neighbours. I run the Shop Assist scheme there. And I think the thing that I've binged the most during this lockdown is Schitt's Creek on Netflix. Again, short little 20-minute episodes, very easy to have over your lunch hour. Highly recommend it.
Thank you. Thank you. Adam, get your mic sorted out.
I was on mute, as everyone said. Hi everybody, I'm Adam. I work in the student union with Ros. Normally Ros sits over there, but as you can see, she's not here anymore. And yeah, I work in the student union doing sort of student engagement stuff. And I've been watching mainly YouTube videos of people scratching off scratch cards. That's a good way to spend an evening. And Futurama.
Futurama. Jane. Hey, Jane.
I'll get there, hit the button eventually. I'm Jane. I work at Equality Together, which is a disability charity. I binge watched the Bridgertons, and then I shouted at because I started reading the books just before I started watching the series, and it's all out of time. It's all wrong. So yeah, I've been binge reading the Bridgertons and watching the TV series as well.
Excellent. Oh, good. I'm going to do me because I realised I skipped myself and I'm asking all this information. I just want to say I don't really watch adult telly because I don't have time. Because I've got a 5-year-old with a terrible bedtime. So my favourite kids program. Oh, I work with Adam in UBU. I'm the volunteer coordinator. And my favourite kids telly has been a lady called Maddie Moat. And she does a really amazing series called Do You Know, where she goes into all interesting places like factories and car depots and farms and like asks and finds out all the things about how things work. And my 5-year-old loves it. And it's got a really catchy theme tune. and it saved my sanity, because he'll binge watch that on CBeebies, and I can have a cup of coffee in peace. It's brilliant. So I love Maddie. Sally, it's your turn.
Hello, I'm Sally and I'm from Carers Resource, and a bit like everybody else, I've kind of watched a lot more Netflix than I ever knew I was capable of. I've just finished watching Behind Her Eyes, which I really enjoyed, because it was very weird at the end, so I'm still trying to think, well, did that really happen, and who, but I quite like things that make me think like that, so
Thank you, Sally. Thank you. Esther, are you there? Oh, she's not there. I'll come back to Esther. Sonia. Hi, Sonia. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Oh, this is a good one. I won't tell you all because, again, I've just got too excited about this one now. But yeah, I'm Sonia Kilty, volunteer coordinator for Bradford Libraries and Museums. And I've definitely loved Schitt's Creek. I thought that was just the best thing I've ever seen in a long time. If you haven't seen it, it was almost like they were my family. They were my new family, where I'd lock my own family out and watch them. It was just like brilliant. And I did love It's a Sin on Channel 4. I have to say that was one of the best pieces of drama I've seen in a long time as well. Again, got to watch that if you haven't seen it. We just started last night, myself and my husband, watching Your Honour, which is on Sky. So that's a new one. That's like, if you're really anxious, don't watch that one, because that's completely anxiety inducing. And apparently every episode is going to be like that. But it was one of those ones with a craft beer that you could sort of sit and watch that one. So look forward. Not heard of Behind Your Eyes, so I'm going to look out for that one. That one sounds quite good. And I have got Bridgerton. That's kind of my hour at the weekend, when I get a moment where I lock the boys out and can just sit and watch Bridgerton. So, and because I work for museums, that was filmed in Castle Howard, so it's our Yorkshire piece. So you must watch that one, because it looks glorious. It just looks absolutely fantastic, the fashion and the surroundings on that one. So that's my bit.
Thank you, Sonia. Go on, Steve, it's your go.
I'd literally just muted myself. So I'm Steve from Volunteering Bradford. It's a bit old now, but right at the beginning of lockdown, we binge watched Vikings, which I thought was fantastic. It's on Amazon. It just felt really kind of historically accurate, although it's quite bloody. If you don't like that kind of thing, best avoided probably.
Thank you. I've just jumped around. Esther's still there. Lucy, are you there? Hey, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi, I'm Lucy from, also like Charlotte, I'm from the manager for Ilkley District Good Neighbours. Yeah, it has to be Schitt's Creek for me as well. In fact, I've started watching it again because I'd watched it all, loved it so much. So I've gone back to it. And another really good sort of film documentary type thing is The Social Dilemma. I loved that. And it made me, so I've deleted Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything off my phone, because you need to watch it. It's really quite enlightening and a bit scary, really. But that's definitely worth a watch.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, Dawn. How you doing?
One moment, I'm getting messages up all the time, so apologies. But hi, everyone. So I work for Bradford Disability Sport and Leisure. You all have just got not enough time on your hands, actually, and stuff. And do not panic, because I've only just got Netflix, not watched anything yet. But I have been watching children's programs, very fun. So I'm with you there, Ros. But I have been watching Mandalorian. So if you're not a Star Wars fan or anything like that, then yeah, I'm sorry it's gone over your head, but it's worth a watch.
Thank you. Thank you. Jin, hi. Hi.
Hi, yeah, sorry I was late. So I'm Jin, I'm the volunteer coordinator at the Science and Media Museum in Bradford. Been watching many things, but the latest is We Are Who We Are. I think We Are What We Are. It's on the BBC. It's a TV series, but it's directed by a film director called Luca Guadagnino that's done I Am Love and Call Me By Your Name. more recently, and I'm really enjoying it. But thank you. It's good to hear all other suggestions. This is a top activity, so thank you.
It was Steve's idea. All credit to Steve. And hi, Claire. How are you doing? Hi.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Hiya, I'm Claire Bancroft from Bradford District Care Foundation Trust, and I'm the volunteer manager there. I have to sit with you, Ros, I'm the same. My children's bedtime has just got into my time, and unfortunately, it doesn't give me any time to watch TV.
Yeah.
10-year-olds crept up over lockdown to 9 o'clock, and it's just taken my time. But normally, should we say normally, we're suckers for any drama, and I love listening to all this Schitt's Creek. I quite fancy this. Everyone's been saying. So must one to put on the list, I think. But family-wise, I don't know if I dare say these, but family-wise, we definitely got into The Masked Singer, if I dare say that. Massive bit of a guilty pleasure there. I didn't think I'd enjoy it, and I was like, this is brilliant. So we did watch that as a family, and also we got quite into these Sally Lindsay's Posh Sleepover, and we were a bit gutted there was only 3. I think we got quite into watching those, but normally any drama going we'll watch ITV, BBC. I think we're kind of waiting for a bit of the new Line of Duty to come on. Quite fancy waiting for that one. But yeah, so when I get a chance, they are what definitely we'll be watching.
Brilliant, thanks Claire. Thank you. Esther, hiya. We're doing who we are and favourite TV during lockdown. Or December.
Right, so so I'm Esther. I'm the volunteer services manager for Horton Housing Association. Don't really do binge sort of watching. I've enjoyed bits and pieces. Jack Ryan, Marcella, things like that. I can only do two at a time, and after that my attention span has totally gone by then. I'm the sort of person you never text at pictures.
Okay, thanks Esther, it's nice to see your face. Louise, how you doing? Hi, long time no see. You're right.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Lamise. I'm volunteer manager for victim support in Bradford and Calderdale, one of 3. I got Netflix over lockdown, and I can't tell you the amount of stuff I've watched. It's a bit embarrassing actually. I binged watched Modern Family recently because I used to love that when that was on telly, and it the same as what other people have said, the nice quick episodes that you can watch in your lunch break, so the fab. And just to bring the mood way down, I'm really into like serial killer documentaries. I really enjoy them. As long as they're not too graphic, but yeah, like the Ted Bundy thing that's on Netflix and things like that. Yeah, I quite like that.
Excellent, thank you for sharing. Adelia, how do you pronounce your name?
Adelaide.
Say again.
Adelaide.
Adelaide, like the place in Australia.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Oh,
hi Ross, how's everyone? I'm from
Hi.
Staying Put in Bradford. TV wise, I'm not really much into TV, but I enjoy watching Call My Agent and Lupin. I know it's a bit French focused, but yeah, that's what I've enjoyed watching lately.
Thank you. Welcome, Adelaide.
Thank you.
Beth, are you there? Are you there, Beth?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, my internet is a bit hit and miss when I've got my video on, so I'll give it a go. My name's Beth. I'm employed by the Bridge Project, and I'm currently working on their pilot, which is the Together Talks telephone befriending service. And I'm currently obsessed with RuPaul's Drag Race UK. Nice to meet you all as well.
Nice to meet you, Beth. Tina. Hi, Tina. Are you there?
Sorry, I have no video because I've dialed into the server, so my video won't work, so I do apologise. I'm about the same as everybody else. I think Schitt's Creek is the best thing that I've seen, and I'm not a comedy person. I'm a serial killer, murderer, guns and blood. But Schitt's Creek is just the best. And when I'm old or older, you can't see me. I want to be Moira. That's my aim in life. So if you watched it, you can see the people laughing. And I think everybody wants to be Moira when they get old. So that's my aim in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sina. Thank you. Sharon, hi. Are you there? Is she there? Are you there, Sharon? No, she's not there. Oh, she's there.
I am, yeah. The internet connection on the camera is not, when I put the camera on, it usually goes. So, and I've got a noise. I think it's you. Is there a noise on my, in the background?
No,
okay.
It's okay.
I don't watch, I'm Sharon Daly and I work for HFT Bradford. I'm a customer manager. I manage quite a few services and one of them supported volunteering. I don't watch. I've got lots of programs to watch after this, but I don't really watch TV. I read and listen to music, and I've done a lot of painting and decorating in the last 12 months. So, and the garden, got a huge garden, so I've been doing that in better weather. Yeah, but I've got a list of programs that I might watch. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
That's lovely to hear. Thanks. We're not all TV addicts. Emma Staff has just joined us. Emma, are you there? Are you able to say hello? Hi. No worries. Hello. We're doing who you are, where you from, and your favourite TV programme.
Oh, okay.
Currently.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm volunteer coordinator at Better Start Bradford. Favourite TV programme? Oh goodness. Do you know, I don't know if I've got a favourite, but I'm a real sucker for like crime dramas of all productions. I've no idea why, but yeah, so lots of them.
Great. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you, Emma. Really nice to see you. Glad you're okay. Have I missed anyone out? Well, did I cover everyone? Oh, okay. I'm ready for a lie down now. Okay, that's fine. Well, it's nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. So we've got an agenda, and the first item on the agenda is volunteer passports. Steve's going to introduce the subject and what that is all about, and then we can have a bit of a discussion. So have a think about what you think about everything. If you've got any ideas that pop up, or any solutions, or anything that you've heard that might work, or anything that you think. We're doing a bit of a problem solving, information gathering, opinion sort of take, just first impressions really on what we think, any issues we can see, or any positives we can see. So like loads of things to think about. Do you want to have a over to Steve? Do you want to introduce this?
Okay. Your sound was again really strange. Still is. That's better. Okay. Hello everyone. This kind of follows on from the last meeting where Esther introduced the kind of idea around volunteering passport, because it's something that's been flagged up in a government report that was put together by an MP called Danny Kruger. I think the reason he was chosen to write the report, because it's all about trying to kind of have a bit of a lasting legacy with the amount of active volunteering that's gone on and the community engagement that's gone on during lockdown. It's about trying to harness that and use it into the future. So he was asked by government to write a report based on harnessing that new energy. And one of the things in there was around the volunteering passport. I think the reason I chose him to do it is because he's got a background in the voluntary sector. He set up a charity to do with preventing reoffending behaviour in prisons. So he's kind of highly thought of within government. And he produces quite a lengthy report here called Levelling Up Our Communities, Proposals for a New Social Covenant. And there's a lot of detail in that and a lot of really interesting ideas. And one of them is around this concept of a national volunteering passport scheme. I mean, the idea is not new. There've been a number of pilots and current locally based volunteer passport schemes running in other parts of the country, places like Suffolk, which is aimed at really certain types of volunteers in certain areas. In Lancashire, where it's just really around health service volunteers, and also in Derbyshire, where it's kind of a partnership between children's services and adult services within within Derbyshire, the elements within a passport tend to be around some kind of core training. So identify core training that is relevant to all or a lot of volunteers. So things like equality and diversity, safeguarding, health and safety, that kind of thing. So having some kind of core training that all volunteers will receive, and then be able to move amongst organisations and not need to be retrained. So that's kind of one aspect of it. It's also about kind of joining up the DBS process so that people don't, well, it shouldn't happen so much anymore, I guess, because of the online system, but so that DBSs can easily move between organisations. And it's also, could also be a way of volunteers being able to create a CV around their volunteering for those who are motivated to volunteer because of career progression or to get experience. So, you know, that's another way where it could potentially be useful. What's interesting about us discussing it now is, as a result of that report, just after our meeting, it was announced that there's going to be a scoping exercise led by the National Council for Voluntary Organisations, NCVO, and another national body, Volunteering Matters. And they've been asked by government to spend 6 weeks consulting with the sector about how a national scheme could work and what the issues might be. And based on the fact that they announced this a few days after Esther introduced it at the last Volunteer Managers Forum, makes me think she's got hotline to government. Is that right, Esther? So anyway, they announced this about 6 weeks ago. So they've got about 4 weeks left to do this consultation process. And it's not about looking at what's gone before. It's about asking some serious questions about what would be the benefits of doing this, what would be the issues, what would be the uptake. You know, do we as people who manage volunteers on a day-to-day basis see a value in this? What would be the issues surrounding it? So there's been a bit of a call out asking people to submit their thoughts on the passport scheme or the potential passport scheme. There is a blog on the NCVO website that you can post your thoughts on. There is a meeting on the 11th of March, which I'm going to, and I'm kind of using your brains now. So I'm going to download your brains now and then feed into that meeting about your thoughts, both positive and negative, in terms of the volunteering passport. So what they've come up with is 3 very simple questions for you to have a think about. I say they're not simple at all. They're quite open questions for you to have a think about. So I'm going to suggest, we talked about doing this in kind of rooms, but neither me nor Ros are confident enough to kind of put you into rooms. So what I'm going to suggest is I'll bob up a question on the screen. And if you're happy to kind of talk about it, bearing in mind this is being recorded, so we'll get your feedback from that. Or you can put your comments in chat in the chat box. So does that make sense? Everyone ready to go? Let's see if I can do this then. Hopefully I've given you a bit of a background, enough background anyway. So there we go. Okay. Right, so hopefully you should see a load of web links there. I'll give you an example of one of the passport schemes. This is a locally based passport scheme that happens in Suffolk, just to give you a bit more of a context. So if you won't let me open it, forget that. Let's go on to the questions. So the first question, can you all see that? Yeah. So I can't see you anymore because I'm just looking at the screen. So the first question is, what do you think a national passport scheme needs to do to be useful? So what we're suggesting is anyone who's got any comments, raise their hands or write your thoughts in the chat box.
Steve, are you monitoring the chat box, or would you like me to monitor the chat box?
I can do that, I think.
Okay.
Oh no, actually better if you do. I'll tell you what, you do the chat box and I'll do people.
I can read out the chat box maybe at the end of each question. So when discussion's finished, I can read out the chat box.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And in the meantime, if anyone wants to say anything about this or ask any questions about it, because this really is, I think we can kind of accept that they will try and make this a reality and make it happen. It is our opportunity to kind of try and shape it and make it work for the sector. So Esther, have you got your hand up? Fab.
Yeah. Hiya. So to make it work, so I suppose the main thing would be who is going to decide or write the training, or are we all going to be delivering our own? So if, for example, I get a volunteer and they've never volunteered before and they go through all my safeguarding training or whatever it is, and that ticks the box for the 5 core bits of training that they need for the passport, does that then mean that that's the training over and done with, or do you think that they're going to give us some generic training that we have to do with volunteers? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So I mean, I can only comment on things that have happened in other parts of the country at the moment. So for example, in Derbyshire, the council who facilitate their passport scheme have written the training for everyone. But it only applies to volunteers who are volunteering within children's services, either statutory or commissioned services, and or adult services, again, either statutory or commissioned services. So it's kind of very specific to those kind of roles. So yeah, I mean, can you have generic training for and who's going to accept that?
Yeah, and who's going to write it and pay for it and deliver it?
Yeah.
So that, you know, that's what it would need for it to work.
Okay.
Because what my requirements are totally different to what the NHS requirements are. It's totally different to what it would be volunteering with young people in a school setting. So you can't, this is where my concern is that they're just trying to shoehorn people into a type of volunteering that the government believes exists and not other types of volunteering.
So is this going to replace the training that already exists? That's the question. That in-house people run their in-house training. So is this trying to replace that training?
I think one of the arguments about having kind of some core training is it could potentially save organisations time and money if they know that a volunteer has had safeguarding training, has had first aid training, then they don't need to re-deliver that. But then you have to have faith in existing training.
Yeah, and that's where the difficulty comes into it. You know, I mean, you can have faith in a volunteer if they've had some generic training, but depending on what role they're doing, you know, will then mean that you're going to have to top up that training with your own training. I think the thing is that, you know, a lot of this passport stuff is, I think, you know, because on the back of like people doing shopping and things like that, and that's absolutely great for that type of volunteering role. However, that doesn't equate for me to like bring someone in to be doing activities with one of our high risk offending hostels, does it?
Absolutely. So would a solution to that be something like what happens in Bath? So their passport scheme isn't about some generic training. Their passport scheme is a volunteer fills in the volunteer passport application, which is approved and recognised by their existing volunteer manager. So they say, you know, I've done such and such training, I've done this training, I've done that training, and then if they move to another organisation, they take that passport with them and say, look, this is what I've done, in which case the organisation then makes a decision about whether that's adequate.
Yeah, I like that. It's a record of learning, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, go on, Jen. Go on, Jen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so very similar to what Esther was saying. I think for us it would definitely be a it wouldn't necessarily, I know as an organization, because we're quite large ourselves with different sites, we have our own central procedures and they definitely need to be ticked, and we wouldn't be able to accept external training. We wouldn't need to then repeat it, which my concern is then they would actually put off volunteers that might have gone through the central training to do the national volunteering passport, and then they come to us and they have to do more training. And I think if I was a volunteer, I would be put off by that. That was an issue. What made me think what you mentioned about Bath is about whether then it makes sense to maybe have the passport, but for a very specific sector that does share requirements. So rather than being a national thing across every sector, every organization, be more focused on a different sector. But yeah, whether it is, I don't, yeah, whatever that is, whether it's health or museum heritage or something like that. But yeah, just to shout out for us, unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to accept it. We would have to run our own training on top at the moment, unless whoever runs the passport wants to take on the, wants to speak to our central organization and say, will you be happy, and do all of that negotiation in terms of what training they accept. At the moment, we would have to do something on top of it. So yeah, just to highlight that. Sorry.
Okay, Donna, you've had your hand up for quite some time. Sorry.
Okay, I'm patiently waiting. But yeah, I kind of agree with the second one. For some training, yes, it could be generic, and we would accept it if it was like safeguarding, general health and safety, things like that. But we would still then have to run another induction session for inducting to Mind in Bradford, because we have specific procedures they would have to follow dependent on the role. So it still wouldn't get away from that time training, but it might save a little bit of time for the volunteer. But then, as Jin just said, obviously it might not be accepted then by all organisations. So it would only be useful for volunteers, I think, if there was a list then on there of organisations that were participating in the volunteer passport. So you could see, oh, well, those two organisations are participating, so yes, I'll complete this because I want to volunteer with both of those organisations. Otherwise, I'm not sure it would be overly useful. But the Bath one sounds like the best option. But yeah, I think everyone would still have their own training then, dependent on roles, because it's very different, isn't it, for volunteering with children, adults, and then dependent on how high risk your clients might be as well. And we're having to develop more training now since lockdown with like difficult call handling and things, which is not an easy thing to pull together. So I still think there's still going to be that time for organisations, unfortunately, in training.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything you want to highlight in the chat box, Ros?
Yeah, there's some information from Claire. Claire, do you want to have a quick chat? She's saying that they are introducing a certificate to say they've completed training as part of the NHS. So would you like to talk about that a little bit, Claire? Thank you.
Yeah, of course I will. I mean, it is, sorry, when I said share, I realised it probably sounded like I meant a document. It's all in here. I'm totally conscious that I'm coming from an NHS angle here. So I'm aware that it'll be quite different in how I'm listening to what you're all saying. And I think it's so relevant in how it'll work for me and how it might work for you. So, I mean, it's very early stages. So I just thought if I can sort of share where we're at and what I've done so far, it might help. So in the early stages, I was quite confused because there was a few interchangeable terms going around, and it was volunteer certificate and volunteer passport. And I thought it meant the same thing, and it doesn't. So exactly what you've just said, Steve, the volunteer passport is the one that is, you're able to go from organisation to organisation having done the same training. And what the training is obviously developed, it's already there, I've done it. So from my perspective, I wanted to, sorry, I'm going to probably jump a bit here. So at Bradford, we have our own volunteer induction. We've designed it, we've brought the services involved, and we do that. Luckily, we did it online just before COVID hit. We used to do it face to face, but we brought an online version to make it quicker. Now, all from the eLearning for Health site is all online. And for me, it's similar kind of delivery. So there's things like role and responsibilities, communication skills, data security, conflict resolution, equality and diversity, safeguarding, you know, I could go on. There's a fair few more, health and safety, fire. And so what I wanted to do was to just go in and have a look from a volunteer's perspective, what actually that looked like, because we've gone from having a day's face-to-face training to condensing that because we felt like we gave them too much training. And because we're a mental health trust, they also had to have additional training days on top of that. So our aim was to try condense our induction so that then all these days didn't add up to become 3, 4, 5 days training. So I was obviously quite conscious of the fact that I don't want to then increase that time again with the number of modules they have to complete. However, saying that, doing the modules, and again, I just want to keep saying that I'm saying this from my point of view and sort of trust volunteers, and I'm conscious that it is different for everybody. It was very good. It's very online training, you know, typical kind of, you go on, you do your e-learning, you have a little, I'll say quiz at the end. It's not a test, it's kind of going over the knowledge. So if you get it wrong, you can go back and just get the answer right again. You know, it's not, you're not 100% have to, you know, get it wrong and then you're blocked out for however long. So it's kind of testing the knowledge, which for me is really good because it makes me know that they're actually reading that. So you literally go in and you do the certificates, you do it module by module. I can't tell you how long it took because I did it on purpose. I got things wrong. I whizzed through it because I just wanted to get the feel. I did get my admin to do it as well. She took a lot longer because she wanted to make notes and sort of give me a bit of feedback as to what she felt like as kind of a new volunteer going into it. So for us, it's about amalgamating that into our current induction. So whether we bring that in and we do that within our induction and that then becomes a certificate. Now, my understanding is that you can do that as a volunteer certificate. Now, I'm conscious, Steve, that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about the passport. So then obviously that then becomes, I think, and I'm saying I think because obviously I've only got to a certain point, is that training that you have then done can then be used as, so if you know somebody wanted to come to you or wanted to go to BRI or wanted to go to Airedale, for me, they've done their induction and they don't have to do it again wherever they volunteer, which from my point of view is great because it means that they only have to do it once. The one thing I did question, I've been on a few meetings and I'm conscious that the meetings I've been involved in are also part of the volunteer management software that I'm getting, which it's the money that we've been funding is to bring them together. So for us, I know it's a bit more complicated. However, we've been really careful to kind of just see if it would work for our volunteers and just ensuring that if people were hopping between NHS trusts or you know, voluntary, it doesn't matter, does it? That they've done that training. But I think, I don't know who it was, somebody just said then about additional training. And I think for us, you know, within a mental health trust, we've got to do breakaway and conflict as well. And that was one of the biggest things for us. So I've got to really kind of take this time period to see how long it's going to take a volunteer to do that. Is it going to benefit them doing that, all that extra training, and then having this additional, you know, trust specific training as well, and how that works with our software as well. I mean, the one thing, I'm just going to go over my notes a little bit. As far as I was aware, there was 2 certificate options as well, where you could add hours of volunteering into it, and it becomes an in-house certificate, so it becomes something that we can do at Bradford ourselves, or you can do a national accredited skills for justice certificate, which incorporates 60 hours of volunteering and becomes like a nationally recognised certificate as well. Again, I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. I'm not sure. I think for us personally, it's about embedding this into our induction, because we still want our Bradford stamp on it. We don't just want to bring in an e-learning and the volunteers come in and then just do that and then don't know anything else. So for me, it's quite important to still have our induction at the beginning and the end. And then the main content of that is provided by the e-learning for health. Does that help a little bit with kind of the content and the certificate? I don't know if it does, but that's where we're at anyway.
No, definitely, Claire, that's really useful. Kind of, it gives us a real picture of where you're at the moment. And, you know, why would you as a trust then engage in some kind of national scheme?
Well, yeah, that's another question, do we need that? You know, I mean, I'm just looking at, Catherine sent me these actually, because we both attended a meeting at different times, which again, I must stress was mainly to do with the software as well as this. It's kind of being able to add that into it. But I've gone into the e-learning for health site and actually logged in myself. What I did find was that when I did it, there was a little bit of clunkiness, shall we say, at the beginning, but I think they're working on that due to feedback. So, I mean, they're really welcoming feedback as well, I must stress that. Not really sure, Steve, to be honest. It might be for people, I mean, here I've got an in-house certificate would be 30 hours of volunteering, but a national accredited certificate would be 60 hours of volunteering. So, you know, it's a lot of volunteering to get, but for some people, it might be that they want that. But again, whether that forms part of the passport, I don't want to go off on a tangent too much. But they were saying that they provide badges and all sorts. So again, it depends on the volunteers, doesn't it? Some volunteers would love that and have something to work towards, whereas others, you know, wouldn't. So yeah, I think the other thing I will add actually is what they did say. Somebody asked a question about the internet and about if somebody didn't have the internet, and at the moment there is no paper versions, which doesn't help somebody that can't access, you know, the internet. But it was raised, and they are going to look into that. And the other thing was that I was quite passionate about was I don't want somebody having to do this amount of work every year. Because I think it's a lot to do once a year. So we always do a refresher, but we make it smaller and a lot more kind of touch base. A few people brought that up and said that they will look at developing a refresher training, which could be accessed. So again, that might be something that keeps that passport going. So yeah, just a few things to kind of add into your pot, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Claire. Rose, is there anything else in the chat?
I'm just aware of the time a little bit, that's all.
Yeah.
Just like a little just people's time. Jane has said part of the usefulness of training is getting to know the volunteer. So it's a two-way process when you're training someone. And then also, these are maybe things to consider rather than right now, maybe things for you, Steve. How would each organisation's training be accredited?
Yeah.
And does it meet the accessible information standard?
Good questions.
That was the NHS one, the NHS training.
Okay, okay.
I'm sure it does because the NHS signed up to it, but yeah. I mean, I work for a disability charity. All our volunteers have lived experience of disability. You know, we've got all sorts of people with different things going on. You know, can we just have a one size fits all? Sit in front of that and off you go.
Brilliant, yeah. I'd have thought that, why are we calling it a passport? Because it seems to me like it's a training record. I don't know, but then someone said, actually, well, a passport means that any organisation that signs up to it, you can hop between them, but you still got to do that organisation's training anyway. I don't know, but the passport, calling it a passport's a funny thing. Seems like it's quite an emotive word for something as simple as volunteering, or as, you know, as something that should be as open as volunteering, and suddenly we're saying you need a passport to be able to do it. It just seems a bit, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think the word passport, maybe, don't know whether that's the right word for it. Training records.
I think you're exactly right, Ross. The passport has, you know, certainly for, say you're an asylum seeker or refugee, the idea of getting a passport has, you know, quite different connotations. And what I've called it in Bath is just pass, a volunteer pass.
Yeah, that's much better, because it just takes the language out of it. Also, it sounds a little bit confusing. It's basically saying, oh, you can't volunteer unless you've got this, which might not be true. Do you know what I mean? Sonia, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just looking because we've got a thing in museums called the Northern Museums Volunteer Pass, which Jin might recognise. So that is a pass that lets all volunteers who volunteer in museums and heritage sites get a pass, and then you can get in for free for a lot of those National Trust properties and places where you have to pay an entrance fee. Or they could come to, say, our museum shops and get a discount in the shop, or you can, a bit like the Citizen Coin thing, but it's just very simple. It's just a pass for volunteering. So we have got that. For us particularly, for me, because I'm so early on in our volunteer programme, it is useful because if it could cut out a lot of the work, and we're quite intergenerational with our volunteers, so we could get anyone from the age of 16 to 18 from Shipley College working with us, or we could get someone who's 85 and recently widowed and just wants to get out of the house. So we've got a whole range of volunteering. So I think it's, the more we can offer, it's great from us. And if people, particularly school leavers, want to go for that, and even some of the elders might, you know, want to go for it. If it provides some basic training, like how to do an interview, health and safety, all that kind of thing, it can be useful. I mean, I've worked with agencies with school leavers who've sent me volunteers over the years in museums, and they've been great because they've already had, they just deal with young people at 16 to 18, and they train them. So they give them the CV, they've already got a CV, they've had interview skills. You know, they come into the interview, they shake your hand, they sit down, they know how to sell themselves. They're completely different to the school leavers who literally have just come from their teacher and just sitting there. So it does help. You do get that level up, really. But yeah.
Thanks, Sonia. I've just noticed, Esther, you've still got your hand up. Is that from the previous one, or did you come back? No, you don't want to come back. Okay. Ros, I hear what you're saying about the time. What I'm going to suggest is the other questions kind of, you've kind of alluded to the other questions they've asked. The questions kind of overlap. What I'd like to do is kind of bob this round as an email in our next newsletter, which will be out before the end of the week. And, you know, if anyone's got anything they want to feed into the process, or any thoughts that we haven't covered, maybe that's the opportunity to do it. And maybe we should, because it's approaching 2, move on a bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well, giving people time to reflect about it.
Yeah.
And then think whether it will work for them or not, and what concerns they've got, and then they can just email you. Has anyone got any questions for Steve about the passport, just to clarify anything that might not be obvious? I've got a little question, actually. Having said that, the question is mine. Are the records of this going to be centralised? So is it the idea they do some training and then some centralised training, and then the records of the training are going to be centralised? Like, where are the records going to be kept, and how do they access that? Is that a whole different software thing that's been created, or is it going to be integrated into existing systems? That's all.
I think that's all up for debate. I mean, that some people are talking about kind of linking it to the National Volunteering website. Do it, but not everyone uses that anymore. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a whole issue around the whole kind of GDPR and who's responsible for this information. Yeah.
So it's not known. Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone. Yeah, we'll send an email around and you can respond to Steve. There might be a deadline as well, but that will really help to get the Bradford perspective on it as well. The next item is an update from me, and actually I haven't got much to say, but my colleague Adam is here, and if he's aware, if he's still there, Adam. Hiya.
Hello.
And he's got loads of things that he wants people to know about what we've been doing. So I'll pass over to Adam. He works in the Student Volunteering Centre with our lovely students at the University of Bradford.
Hiya guys. So I've just got two things really, not loads of things. The first one is something for you. So we've got a film and TV production course that runs in the runs in the university every year. And that's run by a guy called Chris Hazel, and he coordinates that. He's currently looking for projects for the filming students, and he's desperate. So if you've got any filming projects that you want at all, just send an email. In fact, I'll put his email in the chat. That's probably a good way to do it. So just drop him a line. The standard varies depending on who you get, but it's what's going on here? Right, Control V. There we go. Right. So Chris Hazel. Yes, standard varies, but you can get some really good filming projects. And actually, I'm glad you're here, Sonia, also, because I was looking at the library's videos that they're doing at the moment on YouTube, and I think they could benefit from that.
Yeah. We really are looking for them, because all the staff have done them like a million times with our kids, and I think people are starting to get So anyone out there who wants to volunteer, we have this thing called story time with our under fives or early years in libraries. So in normal times you'd come into the library and you could have reading sessions with your toddlers, and nurseries can come in and that kind of thing. Obviously we're closed to that at the moment. So our early years librarian, Susan Brewster Craig, is great. So she's looking for anyone who can literally film yourselves in your garden, in your shed, in your house, in your gazebo. You can dress up, you can do face paint, choose the book. You must email her first. Or you can have your children in there. Some of them have done props, or some have got their cat and their dog in it. So email Susan, because there's rules she gives you, simple rules, just on how to do the film, and just to check the publisher is within what she's working with. There's publishing little things as well like that. So yeah, if you want to read your story a bit like on CBeebies, then this is your moment. And it'll go all over our social media and libraries and everything. That is a brilliant one. I'm also thinking for our museums as well. If anyone wants to make a film, outside one of our sites, when lockdown's over, we wouldn't encourage you to go now. But when lockdown's over, we go into different tiers or whatever. Make your little film outside Cartwright Hall, Bolling Hall, Bradford Industrial Museum, Cliff Castle in Keighley. And then just, give it to us. 2-minute bite-sized pieces we're looking for to promote us while we're closed.
Well, I think you could really benefit. Just get the students and they'll just create a load.
Oh, great. And then they can join our volunteer program forever.
Hook them in. Hey, Jaysha, did you say something?
Yeah, sorry. I just a quick question to Sonia was, she mentioned about Susan, a lady called Susan, about the story time. Are you gonna give us an email address?
Yes, I'll put it in there now, because it's quite a long one. She's a double barrel. Let me figure that out with the hyphen. But she's Susan Brewster Craig, and she's based at Shipley Library, but we're all at home at the moment. And email her, copy me in. I'll put my email in, or my email's there. You can see it. Yeah, and it's a fantastic little thing. But if you want to come to it, if you're doing your exercise walk through one of our grounds at Lister Park, Cliff Castle, you want to make a film outside your building or your park and say this is why you like it, you love it, can't wait for it to be open, do it and send it in to me. That one would be a good one as well. But I'll pop Susan's in there now.
Yeah, my dad did one about cleaning the rubbish in Peel Park, but you wouldn't want to use that.
No. And there's no museum there, but our Parks District, yeah. But that's a big thing, because even Bolling Hall sometimes gets a little bit neglected in West Bolling. So we're trying to look after that. I've got some brilliant gardening volunteers who are going to start doing things there. So if you're walking your dog, if you're passing, Lister Park at the moment, today, International Women's Day, we've literally just put on an outdoor gallery. So if you go outside Cartwright Hall to the sort of right of it, there's some gorgeous big photographs now of by the Commonwealth Trust and a few different women's groups, gorgeous photographs, outdoor gallery, while you're walking so the policemen don't get you and clap a £10,000 fine. But that's the outdoor gallery. Just keep walking and bring a dog. You'll probably be fine. Do some exercise while you're looking at it.
See police start doing star jumps.
Yeah. I could have thought that.
So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, email Chris Hazel. And the second thing is we're running a project called Kickstart, which is it's a student development program. They can get level 1, level 2, level 3. It's a kind of version of Duke of Edinburgh, but not really. And it's to sort of recognise all the extracurricular stuff that students do. Now, we've got quite a lot of students that are getting level 1 and level 2, but to get to level 3, it's a jump up. So we're creating a fund that students can apply to do level 3 projects. So these are ambitious, big projects. So if you guys have got any ideas of big, ambitious projects that you could advertise that we could send out to the students, then that'd be brilliant. Can't guarantee they'll do it, obviously, but maybe some will. Like, for example, we've got a student from South Sudan that works in peace and development, and we're looking at setting up a mixed ability sports team over there because over 50% of the population has some form of disability or mental illness. So it's that kind of level, big projects. So have a think, and if you've got anything, in fact, I'll put my email in the chat too. Send me an email, or Roz, or both of us, yeah, and we'll make it happen. So anyway, that's me, Roz. That's my shout out. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks. That's great. Brilliant. Thank you, Adam. Would you put your email address in the chat, please?
Yep, doing it now.
Thank you. That's it from the UBU people. Do you want to give a volunteer centre update, Steve?
A couple of things I said I'd highlight to people, just in case you've not seen this. Where is it? Don't worry, it's not more volunteer passport stuff. Here we go. I don't know if you've seen this. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
People of Yorkshire. Well, that's not quite accurate. It's not people of Yorkshire. It's specifically people of Bradford. So I don't know if people are aware of this. There's a TV company who've been, I've got permission to develop a new series in Bradford. They're the same people that did a repair shop, if anyone ever watches that. So it's this guy Jay. The idea is they will be having volunteers who've got particular skills to refurbish things. Sorry, this is a bit vague, but anyway, what they're wanting is nominations or suggestions of local volunteers or local groups who have done something significant during the pandemic and have an interesting backstory, who they can present with these bespoke gifts that Jay and his team in Bradford are going to make. Sorry if that sounds a little bit vague. I don't know if people have seen this. The address to make a nomination is along the bottom there, workshop@ricochet.co.uk. Does that make sense? I'm not sure it makes sense to me.
That makes sense, Steve. Yeah, but we're not seeing the. I've personally not seen this, so that's quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So in the first, what's really important though is the process is you don't tell the person that you're nominating them. You email that address just with details of the backstory. And if they're interested in the backstory, they'll get back to you and say, ask the person if they want to do this. So you don't ask the person first if they want to be nominated. You just give the backstory to the TV people. They then make a decision about whether it's interesting enough for them, I guess. And then they'll get back to you and say, okay, yeah, approach the person, see if they're interested in doing it. So the idea is, yeah, it's someone who's gone above and beyond during the last year or so. It can be a group, it can be an individual, and you nominate them to kind of receive a bespoke gift that this fella Jay and his team will make. Has anyone here actually watched Repair Shop? No, don't know. Okay.
Yeah. My daughter does. My daughter's 10 years old and she's obsessed by it.
So there's that. Okay, so the other thing was, I don't know if you've seen this, there's a new toolkit being developed by Volunteering Matters and some people at Newcastle City Council, and it's about engaging older people and people with dementia in volunteering. So effective ways to do that. Well, the link's all there, so it'll be, you'll be able to access it when the recording of this meeting goes online. So it's just a free resource you can download if that's an area of work that interests you. Other stuff. Oh, I need to mention training. Okay, so Community Action Bradford and District are offering a range of online training at the moment. Some of which may be specifically of interest to volunteer managers, things like Volunteers and the Law is coming up. Recruitment and retention of volunteers, delivering in partnership with Voluntary Action Leeds. All the it's massively reduced because normally they charge quite a lot for face-to-face, well, not quite a lot, but an amount for face-to-face. They're offering reduced fees for the training now. So if you go to the Community Action Bradford website and search for and look at the training calendar, there's a range of training options there for people to consider. Along similar lines, there is also this, which I was given just before this meeting, which might be of interest to people. See that all right? VCS Leadership Programme. So this is essentially a free course aimed at voluntary sector leaders. But if you read the blurb here, what they're arguing is that everyone really has some element of leadership within their role. So they're looking for people to kind of co-design a course for future leaders within the voluntary sector in Bradford and District. Just as a little carrot, if you sign up to the course for the 3 sessions listed there, and you are part of an organisation with a turnover of less than £250,000 per annum, they will pay you £150, but you have to attend all 3 sessions. Again, the details of that are on the Community Action Bradford and District website, and you can just book on for free. If you attend all 3 sessions and your income's less than 250k, your organisation gets £150. So there's that. And it's also a chance for you to kind of shape a course for future leaders. A couple of other things to mention. We've got, I think I might have mentioned this before, we've got a pool of about 30 volunteer drivers who've done like a range of things for us over the last year or so. And the kind of work they've been doing has kind of dried up a bit. There's bits and bats for them to do. They're all kind of registered with us, identified by us. A number of them have DBS checks. So basically what I'm saying is that anyone needs any volunteer drivers for anything at all, get in touch. Is that so there's that. The other thing just to flag up, I'm aware that oh, she's gone, I think, actually. We still do have a load of free reusable face coverings available at our office if you want access to those for clients or service users or staff. They're adjustable, they're really well made. Just drop me a line. And one last thing before I finish off, just a thank you to everyone who's registered on the new website. It's been a revelation, really. We've got 50 new opportunities on there. A lot of them aren't home-based. Some of them are actually out real opportunities. So that's good to see. And there's been really pleasantly surprised about the amount of traffic to the site, even though we haven't really advertised it much yet. So all good. Thank you.
Good, thank you, Steve. That's excellent, excellent information as well. Would you? I know it's going to go in the minutes, isn't it? Oh, the people can watch the video, but I wondered if you could send it Are you going to put it in a newsletter and I'll send it around everyone as well
Yeah.
about the other things?
Yeah, we'll try and do that. It will be done this week, especially because the kind of feedback on the passport stuff we need by the end of the week, really, if anyone wants to contribute to that.
Remember to save your chat as well.
Yeah, remember to save the chat.
I've done that, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
thanks
really
for the
precious.
reminder, Sonia. I'll have a look.
It's precious chat.
Yeah, we've got a museum van and made the van driver redundant. Don't ask me what all that was about. So we've now got a van and no one to drive it. And I'm desperate to get, we're all desperate in different teams for things. So I don't know how that works because of insurance, because when would your drivers be insured to drive our van, or would they have their own transport? For instance, I've got a load of tools sat at Peel Park that just need to be driven up the road to the Industrial Museum, but I'm not allowed to put it in my car or a volunteer's car because of insurance.
Okay, so the first issue I have with that is you're asking me to replace a member of staff who's been made redundant with a volunteer.
Or, yeah, to help out, yeah.
That's
where we are. We don't have a driver anymore, basically.
Leaving that aside, I mean, the whole thing about insurance actually is really interesting because during the pandemic, the National Federation of Insurers waived the condition that any volunteer driving roles should be declared to their to the driver's existing insurers. So essentially what that means is if you're doing volunteer driving, you don't need to tell your insurance company that it's a volunteer role. You're just automatically covered anyway during the course of the
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So but but seriously, if you have a need for drivers, yeah, if we can have a conversation outside of here, I'm sure we could find someone to help you.
And it needs to be a bit more of a van, really, not one of our ladies who are doing the gardening, because they've ordered things, like gardening tools, which would be better in a smaller van anyway, really.
We've actually got drivers who've got their own vans. So.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
It was just that insurance thing, but you've reminded me, the government did say it's covered for volunteering.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And the other thing is, we have driver's insurance anyway. So they'd be covered by our insurance, even if that was an issue, So.
Okay, yeah, send me anything you've got, send me, and then I'll just send it to our lady who looks after the driving thing and just say, is this okay? But otherwise, this stuff's just going to sit at Peel Park at this rate.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Has anyone got any other business announcements, news, information to share? Don't be shy.
We've just got culture recovery funding. So I've now got a new volunteer facilitator, Usman, who should have been here, but I think he's probably in another meeting. So he's essentially here till hopefully the end of June. And he's particularly looking at developing almost like a young ambassador program for Cartwright Hall Art Gallery. So anyone between 16 to 24, particularly Pakistani, Eastern European, all the communities around that area. How can we my vision is these bouncing, young, amazing, modern people at the doors of Cartwright Hall and in all the galleries, meeting and greeting and running children's workshops and school holidays and welcoming families in, etc. So he's essentially looking at that, and then hopefully we can develop that into Cliff Castle, which is a slightly different demographic, in Keighley, the Industrial Museum in Eccles Hill, and West Bolling and East in there. And then from May to December, we've got 3 Kickstarter apprentices for museums starting. So again, anyone 16 to 24 who's on Universal Credit can talk to their job coach about those. We'll advertise them soon.
Thank you. Anyone else got anything else they want to say or announce? Great. Okay. Oh yeah, go on, Jane.
Eating me gob as well. There's a set of training running, making our organisations inclusive. It's free training running throughout March, and Race Equality Network's doing one, Equity Partnerships doing one, Accessible Information Standards being done by Bradford Talking Media. There's one about gypsies and travellers, and a fifth one, I think the Cabad and Daryl Smith are doing about governance. So they're all free for volunteers and for the voluntary sector. I'll send a link to Steve or Roz, and it can be forwarded round.
Yeah, happy to forward that. Yeah, thanks,
They're all
Jamie.
sort of one or 2 hour sessions.
Yeah.
Would that be suitable? Sorry, Adam. Sorry, you're probably going to ask the same question. Would that be suitable for university students? Do you know?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Was that what you're going to ask, Adam?
No, actually, but it's a good question. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, I've just remembered something. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm involved with the Capital of Cycling in town. You know, opposite the town hall, we've got like all the bike place. Just before Christmas, they had a bid that went through. It was like a collaborative bid to get some cargo bikes. So I think they've got 2 electric cargo bikes for social enterprises to borrow essentially for free to move stuff about. So it might be useful for some of you guys. Sonia, you can get on the bike and you can get them tools around.
Get some spades in the back. I'm not getting on a bike. I don't care how PC it is. No.
So I can't remember how. I'll find out how people access it, and I'll send something to Roz.
Adam, I think it was a form that you'd have to fill in with Capital Cycling. As a form, there's a particular form they have. You fill that in before you can loan the bike out.
Great stuff. Although Dave has nicked one of my bikes, which I'm not very happy about, to put on the front of it. But... Cool.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. That's really helpful. Little things like that are really helpful for people to know, because it just joins everything up a bit and we can all work together a bit. Anything else that anyone can think of that might be useful to share? Okay. All right. I think, are we all good? Are we all good? I'm ready for another cup of tea. Should we call it a draw? Yeah. Oh, next meeting. Next meeting. Can like a month from now is like the Easter holiday, or like just after the Easter holidays. So I wondered if we could make it like the sort of 19th, 20th, 21st of April. Is that okay with everyone? Or is that a bit too long? Well, we could make it the week before. We could make it the 14th. That's just after the school holidays. That's all. It just depends how many people are bothered by the school holidays.
Community centres are opening that week, so well.
Oh yeah.
If the roadmap works. But yeah.
That's a really good point. Should we do it the week after then, so people aren't running around like headless chickens?
Like the high school, well, our high school goes back on the 13th on the Tuesday, so I don't know why that is. I think it might be easier on the 15th week, wouldn't it? Looks a bit more peaceful.
I'm thinking the week after. Also, it's first day of Ramadan on the 13th as well. If that affects anyone. So maybe we'll do it the week after. Maybe the 21st.
Yeah,
of April,
that sounds
just to
good.
give a bit of a gap for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone all right with 21st? And Wednesday 21st, 1 o'clock. No. Oh,
No.
sorry, Sally. Oh.
Oh.
Oh no. Tell me you're going on holiday though. Is it because you're going on holiday? Oh. Sorry.
I might be into recruiting, training our new volunteers then, but if not, I'll just catch up with the email.
Yeah, we might get a different sort of group then, maybe that day. I don't know. I'm in a dilemma now because you two always come. Can you miss one? We can miss one, and then
I don't mind missing one. And I'll catch up. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure you can live without me. Yeah.
That's nice of you. That's nice. What? Yes, Steve.
Could I request we have it 11 o'clock rather than 1 o'clock? That
Yeah.
just plays havoc with my, meal times.
Oh, you poor dear. Is it upsetting your constitution? Yeah, just
I've got age, you've got to look after your digestive system.
Yeah, I'm all for that. You've got to take care of your health, haven't you? Be gentle on yourself. Okay, yeah, is that all right at 11 then? Oh, it's a bit early. We'll have to make sure we've had a cup of coffee to be woken up. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, 11 o'clock then. We'll try it. We'll try 11 and see who comes. 11 on Wednesday, 21st of April. Is that right? Brilliant. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Really nice to see your smiley faces.
That's one. Hey, everybody.
We're going to go. See you later.
Ta-ra.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.